Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I should do a bit of an update. It's been a while, I haven't been in the COVID corner for quite a while actually, so I thought this would be a good time to give you guys an update on things that have been happening, so like universal credit and things that have been happening with SEISS and work and how everything kind of works now that the world is kind of going back to normal. Well, not the world, England is trying to go back to normal, even though most places aren't, but it seems like they're trying to force people to go back out into the office. That's all I've got so far from that. So I just thought it'd be a good idea to kind of like update you guys on how things have been going, and I know a lot of you have been through similar stuff or going through similar things and have found it useful hearing someone else talk about it. So it's been quite a few months since I've even spoken about all of it, so yeah. Please stick around to the end of the video to hear like a really important message that I think that is going to help a lot of people that don't know they need this. So let's get straight into it. So what's happened with universal credit? As you guys know, if you're in the UK, if you're not in the UK, you probably don't know this. So obviously when everything kind of went to crap, the government, for people, everyone was in lockdown, and people who were employed, a lot of them got furloughed or kept on. If you were furloughed, that meant you received 8% of your income and you didn't work. If you were working, you were just working from home, and if you were self-employed and could not go to work or could not work from home, you had to apply for either universal credit or employment and support allowance, which is basically for people who are sick and out of work because of being sick. But yeah, you had to have a certain amount of national insurance contributions to even apply for that. So there weren't very many options for the self-employed, sadly. They did have the self-employment income support scheme grant, which came, there were two of them. The second one has just passed, I'll talk about that a bit later on. But those were the options for the self-employed, as I am self-employed and not employed by anyone or on anyone's payroll. Yeah, my only real option was universal credit. My partner tried to apply for it, he couldn't get it, which meant he could not get anything. So at the point where we were all in lockdown and he couldn't work because he's in sales and he's outside, and I'm an actress, I work in film as my main work, and I couldn't go to work either. What we were living off was universal credit, which wasn't a very big payment. It covered just about our rent, not even the whole of our rent, so that left nothing for bills or groceries. And we were also penalised because my partner is not a Brit, so we couldn't get certain things as well. There were certain benefits I just couldn't take because we lived together in a single household, in a joint household. So they take it as a combined household. Even if one person isn't eligible, it kind of strips the other person of certain eligibilities as well for things that they jointly pay for. So those being like council tax, there are other things that we jointly pay for, obviously, because we live together and both of our names are on those bills, so I can't get anything for that. So yeah, we were basically living off of that and our savings. So I started like getting our finances together, I'd say like in the middle of last year. So thankfully in that time that I'd been doing that, we built up quite a bit of savings. We were saving to buy a house, we were saving for like just financial freedom basically, and having some financial independence in case anything happened. I was just saving for things that I didn't really know what I was saving for, but turns out I was saving for a pandemic because that's what came. So yeah, so thankfully we had that and we kind of lived off that. Our parents helped out a bit as well because we moved, so we had like, we were moving and we were buying furniture because our old place, it was furnished. So when we came here to the new flat, we had to buy everything from scratch because it was like essentially nothing here. So yeah, so there was that was a big cost. So even though we're saving in general in the long run, in the beginning it was quite a big like lump sum payment that we were like putting into this flat, but thankfully we did have our SEISS grants, so our self-employed income support scheme grants, which helped towards that, and some gifts from our parents for housewarming, so that was nice. So I'm gonna get into universal credit and what has happened since. So I still do get universal credit. It is cut back, but the first thing I wanted to talk about is last month, when we moved, what happened was actually that in the first month that I got my universal credit payment, they firstly did it wrong. There was an error, so I didn't have any house in the element on it, and it was basically, they said they couldn't give us anything, and then they realized that was wrong. So I went back and I told them, and then they kind of looked that up and they're just like, oh, okay, there was an error. However, in the second time, when they fixed it, I was like, oh, we're getting like this amount of money, that's great, covers our bills, covers our housing, but they made an error. And so they gave me too much. So the next month they adjusted it. However, there was nothing about that too much payment that had came. However, last month, which is about 3 months later or so, when we were moving and I changed our condition of living, like you have to tell them when you move and anything that changes in your circumstance. So I updated that, and in the first payment we got living in this place, they immediately took off the lump sum payment of the error that they made. So the error they made, they gave me 400 and something pound extra. They just took that off of the last payment, so I got not even much. So yeah, my payment was completely like, and there was no warning about that. They just told me after the fact. They were like, yeah, this is why it's less this month. We took that off, like nothing, no warning that it was gonna happen or anything, which is really frustrating. And if we didn't have savings, we'd be screwed. So in general, the moral of the lesson for being here in lockdown and pandemic and everything that happened, if you don't have savings, you're screwed. So always make an emergency fund, guys. Like, this is so important. Like, have an emergency fund. I'm gonna make a whole video on this because I think it's one of the most important things ever. We didn't have an emergency fund, but we had savings which turned into our emergency fund, which is why you should have one. So now we have, we almost have a 3-month emergency fund. We don't almost have it. We have like a 1.5-month emergency fund, but we're close to getting a 3-month emergency fund. That will probably happen by next month. So, and then at that point I can kind of breathe and get back to like, we've been investing side by side, but you shouldn't really do it this way. But for us personally, because we're self-employed, it's a bit different. But anyways, I'll make a whole video on that if you guys are interested in learning about emergency funds and why you need them. Another big update is like, so we had to pay back that lump sum, they just took it from us. Moving into this flat, one thing I didn't know was that because this is a housing association flat, did I make a video about this? I think I did. I talked about like housing association, council, and private renting and the differences between them. I did say I was going to make a video on affordable housing, so I will do that. I have planned that video, so I will make that video because a lot of you did ask about that. So funnily enough, moving into a flat that is owned by a housing association, with universal credit, they actually pay for that whole payment. However, we get a deduction because we have a spare bedroom, so they deduct that from our payment. It's not much, they deduct like about 100 and something, I think, for us having a spare bedroom. But other than that, they cover the whole payment of your housing association place, which blows my mind. I didn't know that, but it makes sense because with private renting, the amount you get is based on how much the local housing allowance is for the area that you live in. But with a housing association flat, I guess because they can't verify the payment of each place when it's private renting, however, when it's housing association renting, there's no way for you to fudge the numbers, and there's no way for someone to be upcharging you more than they can because they're obviously, what's the word? Moderated by the government. Anyways, so yeah, with universal credit, we get more for living here than we did at our old place, which is kind of cool. I don't know, that was kind of a weird thing. It's so crazy how moving here we've saved so much more money. Like we're saving like over £200 a month living here, and we also get a better, like it's more logical, and like our universal credit payment is better. Anyways, that almost doesn't matter because we're kind of back to work now, so that's another thing I really wanted to talk about. So now being back at work, how's that affecting universal credit right now? So my partner is back in his work, he's in his office, like he works at an office in central London, so he's back there and he's working, and so he's been getting income. I've gone back to work, however my payments for work are delayed, so I act, and I did a couple of big commercials during last week. I won't see that money until like potentially 2 months from now, because that's just how it works, until the final edit has come through, the usages has come through for commercials. If you don't know anything about film and acting and that kind of work, it takes a while for you to get paid because it depends on what they use in the final cut and just production, working out financing after the fact of it being the final product's done. So I won't get paid for like a couple of months max, so maybe from a month to 2 months. So I won't see that money for a while, which is okay and fine by me because I got my SEISS payment this month, so it's like I don't really need the money right now. If anything, it's better if I get it later. So yeah, so that will be coming down the line. But yeah, I've gone back to work. It was weird, it was strange, everyone was very like cautious of distance, which was good, and it was very small shoots with some big companies, but it was really small shoots, so it was only essential crew there. And yeah, it was cool. There was only a few of us on set, which was nice, because obviously there was about, each shoot it was only 3 of us, 3 actors at a set at one time. That was great. I'm glad that they're following the social distancing rules, and I can feel like confident to do things like that, especially when they're bigger productions, like well, not bigger productions, but bigger companies and bigger commercials. It's good to know that they're really following the rules. So yeah, so that was really cool. It was really weird being back at work, and I'm really happy to be back at work. I don't know if I will be working for the next few weeks, because I don't have anything booked, I don't have anything penciled, but that's just the nature of my work. It's just the nature of being an actor. Like, the work comes and it goes, but the work I did in that week is enough to sustain me for like a month or 2, so that's fine. So yeah, but I won't get that money until, you know, as I said, a couple of months from now. Oh, and how that money affects our universal credit. So universal credit, how it works is that it's offset against your income. So any income you make, if I make £1,000 this month, 80% of that will go against my universal credit payment. So £800 of that will be deducted from my universal credit payment. I think it is 80%. Did I make that up, or is it 64%? Can't remember. I suddenly can't remember, but there's a percentage that gets deducted against your universal credit payment. So because my partner's back at work and I'm working too, and we have income from SEISS, that is kind of offsetting our universal credit payment, but we do have expenses because we're both self-employed. We have constant business expenses that come in every month, so that's also offset. So it kind of balances things out a bit, because obviously we didn't have income for a while, and it's now kind of balancing, because when you have minus income with universal credit, what happens is that kind of stockpiles and counts towards your next month. So let's say my expenses were £600 and I only made £200, that's minus £400 in profit, right? And that goes towards the next month. So if I make £500 next month, they only count £100 of that to offset against the current month universal credit, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense. Because of the lockdown, I feel like it's good that they've worked it out that way in general, that it's set up that way, because you might have months where you're spending, and we've been spending out of pocket and spending like our savings, right? Or if we didn't have that, we would be borrowing that money. So it's good that that is offset, that we've got that deduction and it's offset, and now when we are making money, we can pay that off if we had borrowed, which thank God we didn't have to, but it's still like, we can put that back into our business, and we can put that back into the things that we actually needed the money for. So there's that. Sorry about this is a bit long, but yeah, it's really hard to explain to people who don't know what universal credit is or how it works. Yeah, so with the self-employment income support grant or income support scheme, it's a grant. So it's 80% of your average 3 months worth of pay over the last 3 tax years. And the first one was 80%, the second one was 70%. The first one has already passed, you can't even get it. So if you missed it and you didn't get it, then I'm sorry, that sucks really badly. But the next one is here, and it came out last month, and it's good until October. If you've been self-employed anytime between 2016, I think it is, and 2019, I would go and check and see if you actually are eligible for it, because you might not know, you might think you're not eligible for it, but you could be surprised. That's free money, it's a grant. Even if you don't need it, go and claim that money, because that is money that is gonna help you, help your family, help your livelihood. Put it back into your business even if you don't need it. Like, if people don't take these grants, honestly, it's not like the government are gonna reallocate that back into the system. That's not really how that works. I don't think. So that money's there, it's your money. It's technically your money. So please go and get those. Do go and check. There's a simple form. It's literally, I think it asks you for your national insurance number, and it asks you for your UTR, I think it is, which is your if you do a self-assessment, you know what that is. So you just put that in, and it literally tells you if you can get any money and how much you can get. It's on the government website. I'm gonna put the link down below for you, so you can go find that out. So please do go check if you are eligible for the self-employment income support scheme, and get your money. It's money for you, it's not money to help you out, it's free money, it's a grant. It's not money you have to pay back. It's offered as the government offered. It's basically like the equivalent to furloughing for the self-employed. So because we obviously can't get that. And a lot of people actually weren't eligible, and it was really frustrating for many households. So for them, please go and claim your grant, because it's not like those people will be able to get the money. And yeah, if I wouldn't let money go. Get the money, invest it. If you don't need it, put it in an index fund and let it grow for the next 10 years and see what you end up with. So yeah, we got our final payment. We've rebalanced that. I opened a SIP. I did speak about that, I think I did in my last video. I opened a SIP, so I've put money into my pension now because I never had a pension. I've moved over one of my old workplace pensions that I had. I moved it over to Vanguard SIP, and that's where I opened up. If you want me to make a video on this, I can make a video on opening the SIP or about the SIP in general, and why you need a SIP if you don't have a pension. That's another thing actually. So that pension payment that I've put into there is actually going to can be offset against my universal credit, along with any tax payments I have. So yeah, I don't have any tax payments right now. We did our taxes for the year already, so on top of things. But yeah, so we reallocated all our money into the right places. We put money in our investments. I put money in my pension. My partner's Canadian, so he's a bit of a different story, so we're trying to figure out what to do with his pension wise. But I do believe investing in your pension is really important, especially because the government, like, you get like tax relief from it. So I put in however much, and then the government added their 25%, 20%, I can't remember what it is, but they add on top of it. So that's money that you won't otherwise get. It will help you grow your money. You will be taxed later on a portion of it, but at least that money will help your money grow faster, you know, because of the power of compound interest. So yeah, that's the self-employment income support scheme. What's next? It got really loud outside. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. I've got the door wide open. I don't know why. It's not very hot right now in the UK, but still, I like the fresh air. Yeah, what's up next? I guess probably getting back into work. My work income is sporadic. I don't know how universal credit works. I don't know if they're trying to phase it out. I don't know, like, if I will be leaving it. Right now, it's as it stands, it's like I'm here, so I'm here. Oh, I think I'll make a whole video on this, but if you are on universal credit, open a help to save account. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go and look at the help to save account, read it, open it. It's the best interest you're gonna ever get, so do that. So that's one cool thing that came out of this, that I now have a help to save account, because I don't think I was eligible for universal credit before, so like, yeah, but because I've been kind of had to go on it, you can get help to save account if you do have universal credit. So, and that is saving basically £50 a month, and then the government adds on top of it. I don't know, I wish I could remember. I should probably wrote that down, but it just came to me right now, so I can't remember what it is, but it's a ridiculous amount. Like, even though you're only saving £50 a month, the amount they top it up is like way worth it. So like, if you're looking for the best interest to right now, that's where it is if you're on universal credit. What else? That's it really. That's the update. Sorry this is really long. I thought it was going to be a short video. It just turned out that there's like a lot of like little moving pieces that kind of have to explain, and to help anyone else out there who might not know. So I always think it's better that I give you more information than you need, so you can pick and choose what you want, than not to give you any information that you might not already know. So that's how I like it myself personally, so I hope you guys are okay with that. So sorry the video is a bit long, but it's a few months worth of updates, so yeah. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you very soon for another video. Until then, bye.